Chilly sky, crisp air. Push the good ones away. I'm hanging out here. I've been watching you. You've been watching me too, right? Can you picture you and me in the darkness? Kissing, touching. Kill the lights, I'm your assassin. No sleep breaking. Every inch of my skin's missing you, giving. Breathe out, breathe in.
So I debated for a while whether or not to present this video. Most of my videos on this channel have been fun-loving, enjoy aviation kind of things. And this video really is not that. This is more of a warning video. I crossed the line. I did something I promised myself I would never do, and that is I suffered a case of get-there-itis. We had a family trip planned for the weekend, nothing important, just a little bit of a quick vacation just to see some family. We were flying from Huntsville down to Destin. I had done very thorough weather briefings. I looked at the for-flight weather briefing, did a complete briefing there, looked at the aviationweather.gov, looked at the Windy app, looked at all of the different discussions for the different regions by the meteorologists. So let's go through some of the weather briefing. Looking at the SIGMET, there was a convective SIGMET mostly west of my flight path. My flight path bordered right on the eastern margin of this during the passing time. There was an AirMet Sierra for the region over Birmingham, but we knew about that, and as I've mentioned earlier, I felt like I'd be able to easily skirt around that and around most of that major weather. The synopsis chart shows high pressure dominating for most of the area. Again, there's a front moving in from the west that would be expected to be in there later that evening or early Saturday morning. The METARs for the state were mostly marginal VFR for the northern half of the state, and then were VFR at the southern half of the state beyond Birmingham when we left. The cloud cover forecast was overcast for the middle portion of the state. However, the southern portion was forecast to be few and scattered, and by the time we got there, mostly just few to scattered in the southern half of the state along the coast. The forecast weather for 1 and 2 hours before and after I was expected to arrive was mostly VFR, with possible marginal VFR at the time of arrival. They were expecting some cumulonimbus buildup and some scattered thunderstorms, but that's not unexpected along the coast this time of year. Looking at the weather initially early Friday morning, there was a fairly large set of thunder showers and weather over Birmingham and just south of Birmingham between there and Montgomery. But this looked pretty easy to get around. I felt like we would be able to skirt this around to the west and it would be clear to the west of that. Also south of Montgomery, it looked fairly clear for the afternoon. The whole southeast was forecasting for isolated and scattered to moderate thunder showers in the afternoon, but that's pretty typical for the southeast this time of year. I've flown down to Destin several times and encountered some of these afternoon buildups, and most of the time those are fairly easy to identify and stay away from. You mainly just try to stay in visual condition so that you can see the buildups and skirt around them. Usually when I fly down to the coast, I try to leave in the morning. That way I get there before lunch. Most of the afternoon buildups happen typically after lunchtime, in the mid-afternoon time frame. Due to having to do some errands and also get the family packed, we didn't end up leaving Huntsville until around 12:30, 12:15 or so, which was putting me kind of in that 2 o'clock, 2:30 range, which is prime time for some of the afternoon buildups. Despite that, however, when I checked the weather right before starting the airplane, the weather to the Birmingham and just south of Birmingham was starting to clear up and move off east, and felt like I'd be easily able to get around to the west from that. I don't know if anybody remembers the old Never Again stories that used to be published in the aviation magazines. This is sort of my video version of that. I want to learn, I want to do better. I want to caution everyone that watches these videos, pay attention to the weather, always have your out. I also want to talk to the people that are flying along the coast, particularly the southeast coast. These weather buildups can happen in a hurry. And I want to caution you that just because it looks good right now, 15 minutes from now may be completely different. You need to pay attention to that. When we left for this trip, I knew weather was potentially going to be an issue. And I told my wife, no problem, we have 5.5 hours worth of fuel in the plane. It's only a 2-hour trip down. So we've got plenty of fuel to go all the way there, take a look, turn around and come all the way back home if necessary. There's also plenty of airports in between that we could land at and wait and watch. Shoot, if we got relatively close, my family could have driven and picked us up there. On the video out the front of the windshield, the weather looks pretty daunting. What's not apparent is that I was actually able to see around a lot of these clouds and could pick out some of the lighter areas to navigate through. The only area that we actually went truly IMC, I was actually able to see the ground on the other side, kind of down below me. And according to the air traffic controller, as well as what I was seeing on the ADSB, I really only had about 1 mile or 2 miles worth of weather to pass through before I would be in the clear. And that's the only reason I took that chance to hit that gap. I really could see through the gap. It's not evident in the video, but you could actually see a much lighter area, and it felt like I was safe penetrating that area. However, what I want to emphasize is that I was probably only about 10 or 15 minutes away from being completely enclosed by these buildups and would have been in real trouble. And that's what I don't want to put myself in that position again, and I don't want anybody else that's watching this video to put themselves in that position either. That's really the reason that I'm putting this video out there for everybody. The other thing that I want to mention on this video, and I hope that I can try to impart this with some of the visuals that I'm going to show you, is the difference between what is actually going on outside the airplane, what real-time weather radar looks like, and what shows up in the cockpit. Now, I was able to go back and recreate the actual radar returns for the actual times and then overlay my flight path on top of that. I then compared that to what I was seeing on the ADSB output in the cockpit, on the iPad, and then on the GTN. I know people talk about the ADSB output being 10 to 15 minutes old, and certainly that is a possibility. However, from what I could tell on reviewing the radar images, the ADSB output was really only about 5 minutes old for the local area. Now, you would think 5 minutes is plenty of time, but what surprised me most was how fast this stuff built up in those 5 minutes and really closed me off and made things a lot more dangerous than I wanted to encounter. When most of this video starts at around 1:15 local time, I just cleared Montgomery's airspace. And if you look on the wider picture for the radar map, there's really not a lot going on. You can start to see some mild buildups inland from the coast. There really would be a pretty smooth VFR sailing from here. And that's really what I want to try to show you on some of these radar images and the pictures outside, is how fast this stuff can build up.
Birmingham approach November 4508 Romeo 9600 climbing 10,208 heading.
November 4508 Romeo Birmingham approach Birmingham altimeter 29908.
9808 Romeo.
Iron 78, I heard you say the RNAV 22. What did you say after that? You going back home or did you want another approach?
Even after we passed the weather in Birmingham, everything was still looking pretty clear on the ADSB output. Pretty clear all south of Montgomery. I could see some buildup starting to get some of the typical scattered thunder showers that come up inland, just inland from the Crestview VOR from the coast. And we're starting to see some buildups there, and some of those had some very small red spots. But again, these are scattered and felt like I could easily pick my way around those with clarity.
So here we are, cruising 10,000 feet on our way to Destin. Got the family aboard. Hopefully a nice little quick trip for the weekend. Hopefully the weather turns out okay tomorrow. Had a little IFR departing through some clouds. We're able to dodge around most of the big stuff and get up over most of the other stuff now, so should be a smooth flight down towards Destin.
Yeah, approach here, canoe, November 9421 Juliet. November 9421 Juliet, Birmingham, departure, time maintained 6,000, Birmingham altimeter 209.7.
Yep, 6,000, 21 Juliet.
Lee, you want to say hi? So we were cruising 10,000, put us right on a cloud layer. I think the bases are right at about 9,500, so we requested lower. They gave us 8,000, see if we can get down below these clouds.
What happens if we get down there and we're still in the middle of the clouds?
Nothing, we just keep cruising. There we go. And that was right. 9,500 was the base of those clouds.
Ooh.
So what I was able to do is pull up the weather from one of the airports around here.
Tower information Bravo, current altimeter 2995.
And then told me the cloud ceilings were at a broken at 9,500 and scattered below that. So we were at 10,000, so I knew that if we dropped down 1,000 feet, we'd be below those clouds. And it worked out.
One thing that I did make sure was to stay visual the whole time. Although I was navigating in and around the clouds, I made sure that I was picking my way around the clouds and not trying to fly through any of these. I felt like this would keep me away from most of the severe turbulence and allow me to navigate my way around some of the bigger cumulus buildups. Also, you don't want to navigate and be completely IMC and wander into a severe thunderstorm or embedded thunderstorm or red cell. That'd be extremely dangerous. So at this point, we've made it past most of the buildups in Birmingham and are just dodging some of the upper buildups between Birmingham and Montgomery.
5258 Victor, Montgomery approach, coming altimeter 2994.
2994, Victor.
As I flew south, I started to see some of the buildups picking up, and my out was either to turn back around and head back north and skirt back west over towards Mobile and Pensacola, because once I got to the coast, I felt like I could be in the clear and navigate back east along the coast. However, what I did not predict was that these things would build up and almost encircle us and really not give me much of an out. You can hear a lot of planes starting to request deviations due to weather in the Panhandle just north of Crestview.
There's a big buildup ahead of us. You want us direct to Crestview?
Soaring 61, fly heading of 090.
090, Silver 61.
So I've gone back and pulled the radar data from that day and saved each of those 5-minute NextRad updates. I want to try to give you a sense of what the real weather radar looked like versus what I was seeing outside of the window. And when I can, I'll try to show you what it was looking like on the cockpit iPad and ADS-B interface. By 1:30 in the afternoon, we were heading down and around Greenville, Alabama. They were starting to get some buildups. I could have skirted to the west and headed more towards the western half of the state and gone down towards Mobile, and that probably in retrospect would have been the better path. That would have got me down towards Mobile and Pensacola, and I would have had the option either of stopping there, or more likely the weather would clear up along the coastline. I could simply travel eastward along the coastline until I got to Destin. This is what I was seeing on the ADS-B, which is about 8 to 10 minutes old, and as you can see, a straight south or maybe slightly southeast direction would be open, and then we could cut back towards the coast. This is actually what was going on at the time, and that's what I was seeing out the front of the windshield. And as you can see, that left deviation that we'll see in a minute puts me into that pocket just south of me. Looking out the front window, however, it looked like the buildups were starting to build up a lot more to the west than what was showing up on the ADS-B. In order to get back in that direction, I would have had to turn around and go back north for a period of time, go back west over towards the western half of the state, and then come down south into Mobile from there. Looking on the ADS-B and looking out the window, it looked a little bit more clear to the east. And although the weather was moving in that direction, I felt like I could get east of that weather and then skirt around it, and then I would be okay to jag back towards the Destin Crestview area. And that's really where the first mistake was made. The other option I certainly could have taken would have been to simply land at one of the local airports nearby and wait for the weather to pass through. That probably would have been the safest option, and certainly something that I'll need to consider moving forward.
5 Bravo Tango, when you're done with your deviations, proceed direct Seminole and join Clamp 7 arrival after Seminole to Venice.
Okay, copy that, Bravo Tango. After deviating, direct Seminole, Clamp 7 arrival from Seminole for 5 Bravo Tango. Center good afternoon, King Air 308, Romeo Mike with you, flight level 180.
308 Romeo Mike, Jacksonville Center, roger. Moderate and heavy stream precip all the way into your destination airport, pretty much. You can have the deviations left and right. When able, direct your destination, and I'll have lower in a little bit.
I believe it's
Roger,
at this
when able,
point that the
direct
ADSB
destination, Nate, Mike,
updated,
thanks for the deviation.
and I can see that area is starting to fill
Jackson
in.
Brickyard 4602, 10,000,
I can
looking
still
for
see some
higher and
clear
looking for
stuff
about
off
20
to the
degrees
left, just
left for
looking out the window,
thunderstorm.
however.
Brickyard
And you can see,
4602, Jack
looking
Center,
back,
maintain
looking to see
15,000, left of course
if there's a
deviations
pathway
approved.
back to the west that I could get around to this stuff, or if I'm still better off
For
cutting more
15,000 and
towards
left
the
deviation for
southeast.
Brickyard 4602.
Lucy 5355, Jack.
I want to emphasize that when I saw us starting to get close to these areas, I did slow the plane way down, less than 110 knots to get well below any maneuvering speed, regardless of the lightest weight we could have been. I wanted to make sure that we were well below any kind of maneuvering speed to give me as big of a buffer as I could in case we encountered any severe turbulence or anything like that.
5355, Jack Center, climb maintain 17,000, altimeter at Cresty 2998.
Maintain 17,000, Blue Streak 5355.
Silverine 61, when you're able, proceed direct to Ocala.
You really got to hand it to the Jacksonville approach and Eglin controllers, because there were airplanes scattering like cockroaches with all this weather, so not sure how they kept them straight, but they did a great job vectoring people around the weather.
4 minutes before you turn to Ocala. Just let me know if you're going to do it sooner than that.
Roger, 6-1. Jackson, as soon as 93 Bravo Delta, level at 7,000.
No, 938 Bravo Delta, Jack Center, altimeter at Cresty 2998.
2998. 246 Sierra Delta, looking for 20 left.
6 Sierra Delta, 20 left approved, and Pudgy when you're able.
20 left at Pudgy when able, 246 Sierra Delta.
So right about here is probably where I made the biggest mistake. Instead of putting it on the ground or turning back around and trying to cut back behind everything to the west, I went ahead and tried to deviate to the southeast based off of what I was seeing out the windshield, because it was looking like it was clearing up over there, and I felt like I make it skirt around to the east.
5657 is set to maintain 11,000.
11,000, Blue Streak 6.
You'll see this puts me inside of that pocket with really orange and red on 270 degrees of me. Those summer buildups really coalesced fairly quickly over the course of about 5 or 10 minutes.
Climb maintain flight level 230.
Is that for Brickyard 4602-230?
That's what I meant. Brickyard 4602, climb maintain.
I make a 90-degree turn to the east, hoping to cut around this red cell and then cut back into that green area back behind it.
89 Golf, climb maintain flight level 180.
You really shouldn't use the ADSB for tactical flying, but I was able to see most of these clouds and buildups out the window and felt like I was steering around visually.
Brickyard 4602 when able.
Blue Streak 5355, climb maintain flight level 230. When you are able, proceed direct to Keebler.
All right, maintain flight level 230 when able, direct to Keeler, Blue Streak 5355.
Approach November 450 Romeo. How far east can I deviate?
Who's asking?
4508 Romeo.
4508 Romeo, you can go left and right as much as you need when able, direct Destin.
Appreciate it. Be turning to heading on 120 450 Romeo.
Roger. 8 Romeo Mike, descend and maintain 14,000, altimeter at Cresty 2998.
Any chance I can hold off on that for a little bit? Hey, Romeo, Mike?
I need it. Yeah, that's fine. Maintain flight level 180 on 8 Romeo Mike.
I appreciate it. 180, 8 Romeo Mike.
Blue Streak 5355, stay ready to climb.
2.
November 8 Bravo Delta, you can have deviations left and right, of course, approved Destin when you're able.
Okay, left and right, 8 Bravo Delta.
The real problems began whenever I jogged east towards the Andalusia area to get away from that wall of clouds that I was seeing in front of me. Although that put me east of that cloud buildup, it put me right in the middle of about 270 degrees worth of weather that was really blocking my exit. And that's really where I started to get, I wouldn't say in trouble because I was still visual and still had some outs, but certainly where things were starting to get a little bit hairy. The fact that it looked like it was clearing out a bit to the east-southeast somewhat lulled me into a false sense of security heading in this direction.
Eglin approach November 4508, Romeo 8000 level, heading 170, deviating for weather.
4508 Romeo Eglin, you're loud and clear. Destin is landing runway 14, expect a visual approach, their altimeter is 2997.
2997, and we'll expect a visual for runway 14, and we're going to need to be deviating for weather back and forth here, Romeo.
Roger that, approve as requested, and just for your information, the weather's a lot better to the west and southwest of Destin, so you can expect your arrival on the west side of Duke and Eglin Air Force Base, and then inbound to Destin from the west.
Okay, we'll try to get around this next cell, and then I'll deviate southwest here, Romeo.
So here I'm still thinking I can get around this cell and cut back to the southwest and get back to that clear area east of Pensacola.
American 1047, I'm trying to get the center to take the handoff on you. Stand by. If you need to deviate to the northeast, that's approved.
Northwest would be better.
Okay, stand by.
The clouds to my right are just not matching up with what I was expecting to see getting around this cell. However, everything keeps building and coalescing. Although it looks pretty gray out the front, I've actually still got ground contact and you can see a lot of these clouds building up around me. So I'm still flying visually and navigating around all of these buildups. On the ADS-B, it looks like I've made it around that yellow segment and have green straight south of me, and we'll have a straight shot down towards the coast. However, that green has actually started to fill in and become more yellow to orange.
You're flying right now.
We're in a little bit of light buildups, but I think I see some clear blue on the other side of it there, Romeo.
Yeah, it looks like it appears you have about 8 miles to go, and then you should be out of the worst of it. Descend and maintain 5,000 for 08 Romeo.
Descend and maintain 5,000, 4508 Romeo.
Without you, Monday to Friday, you're no issue. But on the weekend, I can't stay away. You're a risk that I wanna take. Even though my heart might break. Wanna make you my own mistake.
You're loud and clear, depth is land 14, altimeter 2997, expect a visual.
I don't care what somebody might say. You're a risk that I wanna take.
Before I hit all of this stuff, I made sure the airspeed was well below 110 knots to minimize the chance of overstressing the airplane in turbulence.
All this back and forth. It's like a headache that goes all the way down to my core. I'm not learning, though history repeats. It's not good for me, but it's really, really what I need. Every day I try to quit you. Every night I sleep without.
It kept looking like I should see clearing up off to the east, but I saw nothing but bigger buildups over there. So that was counter to what I was seeing on the ADS-B.
Even though my heart might break. Wanna make you my own mistake. I don't care what somebody might say. You're a risk that I wanna take. You're a risk that I wanna take. You're a risk that I wanna take.
What looked like an area of fairly clear weather on the ADS-B output was 5 minutes old. As I mentioned before, I could still see through the clouds and can see some gaps through this area, so I felt comfortable flying through them, but it was a lot closer to these buildups than I ever wanted to be. In retrospect, I don't think I actually flew through the orange, but I skirted right at the edge of it when I overlaid my path over the actual radar returns. We got quite a jolt, quite a bit of turbulence, and certainly something I don't want to repeat. This last little wall of clouds that we penetrated, again, I was able to see a slight gap through there, and it was only about a mile or two, really only about 20 or 30 seconds worth of flight time. I could see the land on the other side of that cloud formation. That's the only reason that I elected to go ahead and try to make that turn. Fortunately, we were able to get through, and once we were able to get through that, it was actually fairly clear, even though the radar images to the east of that looked pretty ugly. From what I could see, it was actually clear, and I could see all the way to the coast at that point, and could actually see Destin and Eglin, and was able to easily navigate visually and maintain on the flight plan and take the headings that we needed to get down on the ground safely. Again, all the big storms were moving off to the east, so I was in the clear after getting through this area.
08 Romeo, let me know when you can take a 190 heading.
Be a few minutes here, Romeo.
100.
And 0 Romeo, I can go 190 now.
08 Romeo, roger, 190 heading, that's the vector for the visual.
190 vector for visual, runway 14, Destin 0 Romeo.
Deviate 93 Bravo Delta, about 10 below right.
Here we've made it south of those buildups. There's still a good bit off to the east with some moderate to severe precipitation over there that I can see out the window, but my path is going to take me due south and should be clear, and I can actually see all the way to the coast from here.
Eglin, Bear 9 Romeo Juliet.
Destin, straight ahead.
4508 Romeo, descend and maintain 4000, contact arrival 32-1.
4,000 and over to 32.1, 450 Romeo.
Mag 9, did you say full stop?
Arrivals in November 4508, Romeo 4,900, descending 4,000.
450 Romeo, I got approach, got you loud and clear. You're number 1 to the field, keep your speed up.
I'll keep the speed up, and I've got a Destin in sight, 450 Romeo.
Roger, you got egg on the side as well?
A-firm 0 Romeo.
Roger. 4508 Romeo, you're clear for the visual approach to runway 14.
Clear visual, runway 14, Destin 4508 Romeo.
8 Bravo Delta, that traffic's now at 11 o'clock, 6 miles, 30 out of 4,000.
Okay, I'm watching, looking for
8 Bravo Delta, trying to maintain 4,000.
4,000, 8 Bravo Delta.
4508 Romeo, contact Destin Tower 118.45, good day.
Over to tower, good day, 0 Romeo.
Then I'm on 1 Tango Echo, Destin Tower, hold short 14, waiting release.
Holding short 14, 11 Tango.
Tower November 4508, Romeo 10 miles north, visual run 4 with whiskey.
Calling Tower to the north, say again.
November 4508, Romeo is 9 miles north, visual 14 with whiskey.
Remember 4508 Romeo, Destin Tower, continue inbound for runway 14, Destin altimeter 2994, report 4 mile final.
Report 4 mile final, 0 Romeo.
Destin 51 Romeo, report midfield left downwind.
4351 Romeo, report midfield left downwind.
Despite all these storms, there's a lot of VFR traffic coming into Destin today.
Tower helicopter 442 Lima Denver heads up. I think we're going to be heading north towards VPS.
Okay, understand you're going north to VPS. How close are you going to be getting to them?
We can come back to you with this exact.
Molly, you want to text Dad and let him know we're landing?
Roger.
I'll do it.
And remember 2 Lima Victor, Roger. Go ahead and contact Eglin Tower 118.2 and just let them know what you want to do.
Yes, sir. We'll advise that we may be in the bay for a moment. Still want us to go over to them.
Yeah, once you get in the bay, go ahead and contact them 118.2.
Roger, in the bay, 118.2, 2 Linden, everything.
7 Tower, 4351 Romeo is in the left base for runway 14.
So it's 51 Romeo, runway 14, clear touch and go.
Yes. 4351 Romeo, clear touch and go, runway 14.
Straight in on the runway 14, over Eglin.
Romeo, Roger, you're number 2. You're following Cessna 172 traffic, turning left base to final, 2 miles ahead of you.
93 Bravo Delta, no, number 2.
Was that for 4508 Romeo?
Phenom 1 Tango Echo, contact Eglin 132.1, good day.
Good day, 1 Tango Echo.
Tower Shark 1 ready to go, south departure left turn out 10 miles.
Shark 1, hold on the ramp, getting busy.
No problem, Shark 1. 4508 Romeo is 3 mile final, runway 14. What trip that was for me?
November 08 Romeo, runway 14, clear for the option.
Clear for the option 14, and I've got the traffic on base in sight, 0 Romeo.
Roger.
Tower Shark
51 Romeo, make this a low approach only. I'm going to have to hold you over the airport. I'm getting too busy for this. If you want to do touch and goes, go to Crestview, sir, but get a little too busy for this right now.
4351 Romeo, copies. So is this a full stop for us?
Negative, sir. You're going to do a low approach. I got traffic right behind you.
4351 Romeo, we'll be touch and go, runway 14.
Negative, sir. I said low approach only. Make that low approach and then enter the left downwind, and I'll get you back around.
Low approach for 4351 Romeo. Thanks.
November 1, November Delta, see your position for me.
We're coming up on the main side for 1 November Delta.
Roger.
Tires for 93 Bravo Delta, over Eglin 14 on final.
November 938 Bravo Delta, Dustin Tower, report 3 mile final for runway 14. Dustin altimeter is 2994, wind variable at 5.
And 0 Romeo, clear to land 14.
Affirmative, 08 Romeo, clear to land 14.
It's a good thing because this thing is coming down.
I didn't really want to clutter up the frequency, but with so much traffic coming in and a stressful flight on the way in, just wanted to make sure I was clear to land.
Cessna 51 Romeo, make right close traffic.
Right close traffic for 4351 Romeo. Tower, Beach 1, landing assured.
Beach 1, copy. Hey, Shark, I know you're waiting to go. Snapper, you waiting to go also?
No, clear Shark.
November 8 Bravo Delta, runway 14, clear to land.
14, clear to land, 8 Bravo Delta.
Cessna 1 November Delta, you're number 2. You're going to follow Bonanza traffic. It's a 4 mile straight in.
Number 2 behind the Bonanza, 1 November Delta.
And after all that, still managed a beautiful crosswind landing. So here was the final track overlaid over top of the radar returns as they were actually happening. Just let you watch through this and see how things sort of progressed and built up fairly quickly over time. These radar images are at 5-minute intervals, and these are the actual radar returns overlaid on the actual ground position. Again, I debated how much of this I wanted to put out there on public video. But I owe it to myself for education, and I owe it to the other pilots that are out there watching this video. Pay attention. Don't do this. Don't put yourself in that position. Get on the ground, turn around and go back. Wait for a different time. Prepare better. Try to leave earlier. All of these things that we all say we're going to do on paper. Don't wait until you're in the airplane to try to make those decisions. Thanks for watching this video, and hopefully we'll get back to some of the more fun-loving videos for flying the Cherokee 6 coming up. And again, as always, if you like these videos, like and subscribe, and I'll try to keep the rest of these nice and lighthearted. Thanks.